For an exclusive Showbiz Newsmaker interview is Danette Meyers. Danette, you recognize as the prosecutor who handled most of Lindsay's DUI, drug, and theft cases through the years. It's terrific to have you here, Danette. Thanks for being with us.
And thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. So we're going to talk about Lindsay's very big day, which I know means a lot to you in just a moment. But first, I really want to take a look with you at what Oprah Winfrey just told Extra about the Trayvon Martin case and her frustration that no one has been arrested. Let's watch.
It is a tragedy, and it is a shame that we're sitting here 33 days later, and there hasn't been an arrest or questioning of actually what happened. It's a tragedy, and it is a shame, and we all know it. And what is really, I think, people, I saw some people on Twitter saying, well, has nothing changed? Is this the same things going on? Yeah, lots has changed. You know why? Because black people, white people, brown people, yellow people all over this country and all over the world are saying the same thing. It's a tragedy and it's a shame. And justice needs to be served.
Who would you like to sit down with? Who's the top of the list?
Top of my list right now would be Zimmerman, Mr. Zimmerman.
And Oprah, of course, referring to George Zimmerman, the neighborhood watchman who shot Trayvon Martin to death. So, Danette, I think you have a much different perspective to bring to us tonight than all of the celebrities who have been speaking out. You were a longtime deputy district attorney. Are you as outraged as Oprah about how this case has been handled? Do you think it's been mishandled?
Well, I think that it definitely has been mishandled in the sense that there really isn't any crime scene evidence, and it's going to be very difficult for prosecutors, if they do charge Mr. Zimmerman, to really handle a case where your evidence is so compromised. And in this particular case, it appears, based upon the reports that I've seen on television, that it has been compromised. I can understand why the public is outraged, because there's a perception of unfairness as opposed to a perception of fairness. And when you're dealing in the criminal justice system, there always needs to be a perception of fairness. So I can see why she's outraged. However, on the other hand, I see why the state's attorneys are waiting. They are going through the evidence. They are going to make sure that if they charge Mr. Zimmerman, that they're going to charge him with a proper charge, and that if they do charge him, that they can prove beyond a reasonable doubt his guilt. So I understand why they're taking their time. They're being deliberate. They want to get it right. And at the end, we all want to get it right. So, you know, I can understand Oprah's feelings. I think Oprah's feelings are pretty much the feelings of the general public based upon the news reports we've received from Florida.
But can I take it from what you're saying about how the investigation is going and what has or hasn't been done so far, that it's not necessarily inevitable in your mind that charges will be pressed against George Zimmerman for shooting and killing Trayvon?
Correct. They may or they may not. I don't know the evidence that the state's attorneys have. And hopefully they will have a conclusion and a determination within the next couple of weeks. And if they may charge him, again, they may not charge him based upon the evidence that they have. And we only get a limited amount of evidence from what the news media has told us. The state's attorneys may have more. They may have enough to charge him.
Well, Danette, there was more big justice news breaking today that you do know a whole lot about. Lindsay Lohan appearing before a judge in a Los Angeles court today. And the judge, at long last, ended Lindsay's 4 long years of probation that stemmed from her 2 drunk driving convictions, all of which began back in 2007.
May 26, 2007, Lindsay's arrested for drunken driving after losing control of her car and striking a curb in Beverly Hills. On July 24, 2007, she's arrested again after a woman calls police saying she was trying to run her down with a car. Lohan is charged with drunken driving, cocaine possession, and driving with a suspended license. Her sentence, 1 day in jail, 10 days community service, and 3 years probation.
And as we know, Lindsay wound up serving just 84 minutes of jail time. Now, Danette, I don't know if this is like a special day or like a holiday today with what's been going on and her getting off of that probation. But as someone who repeatedly prosecuted her, do you think that with Lindsay, it was really kind of a case of celebrity justice from the very beginning? Because so many people from the outside looking in did think that.
No, not from the very beginning. Actually, I was the prosecutor who actually filed the charges, and Ms. Lohan received the same sentence that any other person who had been charged with those crimes in California at the time would have received. So Initially, no. I do not believe it was a sentence of celebrity justice. It was a sentence that anyone in Los Angeles at the time who had committed those crimes would have received.
Well, it is just astounding, I'm sure, for you as well, when you look at what Lindsay has gone through in the past 5 years. And I got out the little Showbiz Tonight calculator to crunch the numbers here. 250 days in 5 drug rehab facilities, 19 times in court, 4 judges who sent her to jail 6 times. Lindsay does remain on informal probation for 2 more years from her shoplifting conviction. Do you think, Danette, and I'm frustrated whenever I ask this because I've been asking this for years now, but I always want to believe there's hope. Do you think that she will stay out of trouble this time?
I sure hope that she will stay out of trouble this time. I really, really do. And I'm hopeful that she understands the severity of what she has done and how what she has done affected other people's lives. And hopefully she will understand that when you get into a car and you drink and you drive, that's dangerous. You can injure the general public. And I think that she's probably gotten that message right now, and I'm very hopeful that she will continue with her life and continue to stay out of the criminal justice system.
Yeah, we are hopeful as well. We would love to be here saying only positive things about her. I have to know, though, how frustrated you get through the years as a prosecutor and working on Lindsay's cases. And I understand what you're saying, that justice was served as it would have been for anybody back at the beginning. But is there a part of you that's frustrated that a judge couldn't just, lock her up and throw away the key, so to speak, to really teach her a lesson that it took her apparently so long to learn?
Well, I think the problem is that many of the judges throughout the pendency of this case did sentence Ms. Lohan to jail time. The judge has absolutely no authority and no power to keep Lindsay Lohan or any other defendant in the criminal justice system, right, in county jail or state prison. And so I think both prosecutors and judges are frustrated by the fact that the county jails are overcrowded, and as a result of that, nonviolent offenders don't actually serve half of their sentences. They rarely serve 10% or 20% of their sentences. So it is very frustrating sure. Because I really believe that some time in jail does catch an individual's attention, and it allows an individual to sit back, have some self-reflection, and decide, do I want to continue in my life of crime, or do I want to continue and do something about the problems that I'm having so that I can be a productive person in society? Hopefully Lindsay's gotten to that point, and I think she has.
Yeah, she certainly has.
I should also mention to you...
Go ahead.
I should also mention to you that the one thing that probably bothered me the most about this case was when the judge at the end of the preliminary hearing reduced this matter to a misdemeanor. It was my belief always that this case should have stayed, and I'm talking about the theft case, should have been a felony throughout. And at the conclusion of her probationary term, if she had completed probation satisfactorily, earn a misdemeanor in this case. And that was the one frustrating thing that I had, because I believe that anyone similarly situated probably would not have had that reduction. And that's why our office went ahead and filed a felony in this particular case.
So perhaps a little celebrity justice in the end. Well, Danette, certainly a unique perspective on this whole thing, and I appreciate you taking the time to share it with us tonight. Danette Meyers, thank you so much.
Thank you.
As we move on tonight, Charlie Sheen, another celebrity who's no stranger to struggle.